I have always struggled with how to define myself as an artist. It seems like most artists choose some type of speciality, like painting or sculpture, and identify as an artist through that modality. I do consider myself to be an artist, but I also identify as a craftsman. I have a wide range of influences and enjoy the act of creation itself, whether it be through painting, sculpting, carving, sewing, or what have you. I think that mindset is evident in the paintings that I'm creating for my current book project with my writer-poet Gary Jackson. Each painting begins with one of Gary's poems, which I read through a couple of times and pull visuals from as I read. I sketch the image in my sketchbook and then scan that sketch into my computer and print it out in 11 by 17 format to prep it for painting. After it's printed, I trace the sketch onto my final paper and make any corrections as I go. I'm using a Canson watercolor paper from a larger pad that I've cut down to size, and as I transfer the image over using my light pad, I start to think of how the painting is going to look in terms of lighting and values, and then begin to block out any shadows. I tend to paint in layers, so I need my foundational layer to be fairly dark. I'm using heavy-bodied acrylic paints, which can be used in different opacities, from opaque to being quite transparent depending on the effect you're going for. The ink prevents my drawing from being washed out by the paint layers. I paint using only the primaries plus black and white. All colors can be made from different combinations of these 5 hues. I can apply the paint very thick or water it down and give a watercolor effect to the piece. I try to use color strategically, but often as I'm visualizing the final piece, I just follow my intuition and apply paint wherever it wants to go. If I make a mistake or change my mind about something, I can cover it up with an additional thick layer of paint later. You can see how the color really adds to the drama of the scene that I'm creating and adds energy to the piece. Once the background color layer is done, I can start to add a thicker, more opaque layer on top of it. That helps to push the background back and bring the foreground into view to make all the elements on the page look like they're existing in real space. Not everything on the page is going to be defined as I paint. Some things are left intentionally vague and will look unfinished. To me, that helps add emphasis to the main character or action of the scene. While the other parts that I've included are important, they serve more as ambiance and hopefully don't pull attention away from the main image. From here, my work is to continue going around the page and apply paint where I think it's needed. As I go, I'm also looking for places where I can add details or special effects. Much of the fine details are added with colored pencils after the paint has dried. The pencils are an easy way to even out a small section or squeeze color into an area that would otherwise be too small for my brushes. At some point, I decide to stop and set it aside. When I'm done with all the pieces, I'm going to lay them out and see what they need before I can call them officially finished. And now I'll move on to the next piece.